That's a good question. So, just for the context provided, it's tough to give like a real specific and custom to the individual answer. But for any advisors or business owners who might be in a situation similar to this, uh, first and foremost, if you provide them back office support, and that could be anything from like a filing or client management, like managing the CRM. If that's things like office supplies, like really generic stuff, if you're providing that, if you're providing any sort of compliance oversight, if you're with an RIA or broker dealer or whatever, if you're helping them with the case prep, right, whatever sorts of products or plans that you build out, if you're helping with that, if you're providing them technology to help build that too, if you're training them or training your team on how to support them specifically, if you're providing them the branded material, whatever it is, if you're giving them all of that, like that's part of your package to have that advisor or that agent work underneath your firm, then just remember, it can be really easy to forget the struggle that this job and this occupation can be if all you do is have leads and given to you and you have a ton of support that you can utilize whenever you want. That's one of the most attractive things of the brokerage and agency model we see with organizations like Edward Jones, Northwestern Mutual. Like they have the structure in place, and all you have to do is plug in. Now, a lot of the time, you do have to find your own leads in those, like in that kind of a structure, but you've got everything else pretty much there. So, like, don't be afraid to remind them what all you provide to them, right? And you got to do it delicately. You don't, be abrupt with it, but it's okay to let them know. Like, actually, the best thing I would tell you is, if you don't already, you should do this. But hopefully, you're having team meetings. Maybe it's once a week or every other week, or hopefully, definitely once a month or less. But when you have those meetings, like, just be openly like talk about the budgeting side, right? If, again, I used this example earlier, but if you are doing seminars, for example, or maybe you're on the radio, talk about the cost to the seminar, to the radio show, right? It's really easy for someone to sit back and, if they all of a sudden have an appointment set on their calendar, John Smith and Sandy Sue coming in to see them, if they don't really know where that came from, they didn't have to work to get the appointment, it can be really easy to become lackadaisical and, quite frankly, lazy. So it's okay to remind them how much things cost, the work that you're doing. Let them know the percentages. And when I say percentages, I mean we sent out the mailer to 10,000 people, for example, what the percentage was of people that actually RSVP'd to your event, who showed up, who didn't, etc. Be open about that. And another side of that is sales goals, which is kind of a touchy term. We don't want to have goals related to specifically sales. It's more so how many families can we help and impact. But make sure that your culture isn't fully centered around how much new business there is. That's where you'll also have a lot of pushback, because having actually been in a situation similar to this when I first got in the industry, if from the CEO standpoint or the business owner standpoint, if this is you, if you're motivating and rah, think of like old school Wolf of Wall Street with Belfort. If you're motivating your team, your sales team specifically, to just make more sales, eventually they're going to realize that the value they're getting, which hopefully it's good value, but if the value they're getting isn't up to par or what they really need to continue to scale when you're putting the pressure on them to make sales, they're going to start to realize that they can go elsewhere. They're going to start looking around. Now, if you are one of these people, by the way, who you're in a really good situation, your ownership group is treating you really well, you're getting a ton of this support, and they're proud of you, etc. Like, stick with it. It doesn't happen a ton. If you're experiencing it, stick with it, because you're in the minority who are enjoying it. But to wrap that up, that's what I would do without any specifics. Just be transparent with how much things cost, how things are working, and keep your team constantly engaged in the loop.